When I talk to and coach new agents, they always want to go into a certain niche. And what I've discovered is the niche finds you. So I went full time in 2000 and rolled into 2008, and every listing appointment I'm going on, everybody is underwater. So essentially they owe more than what their house is worth. So it wasn't something I chose to do. It was out of necessity, and it became a matter of, okay, well, nobody knows how to do it. It just became this massive, massive thing to where it's just blew up from there over the years.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil. Today, I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chatting with, Bob Thompson, who's been making serious moves as a short sales real estate agent and growth coach. So excited to have you here today, Bob.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I think our listeners are going to take something away from how you're approaching the short sale business, as well as your experience working with investors. So let's dive in.
Awesome.
First off, for those who may not be familiar with you and your work, can you share what your main focus is?
Of course. Like I said, my name is Bob Thompson, also known as Bob the Agent online. I have been in the industry 20 years. I am a growth coach. I am also a mentor with REOX, which is a group of real estate agents that specialize in bank owns. In addition to that, I have been involved with short sales for the better part of 20 years. So I have done tutorials and podcasting and things of that nature when it comes to short sales.
Awesome. And can you expand on what short sales means for those who might not fully be aware?
Of course. Essentially, what a short sale is that the bank agrees to take a lower price than what is owed on the property. So in other words, if we've got a house that let's say the folks owe 330 and the bank accepts an offer for 275, then that means that the owner is absolved of any additional debt, including in most cases the tax debt, and they're able to move forward. You have to understand that most short sales are caused by either job loss or divorce, and let's be honest, a lot of times those can go hand in hand. So I think they're a benefit for the average consumer because a short sale only sits on your record for 2 years. You can purchase another property after those 2 years, and a foreclosure sits on your record for 7 years. So it's advantageous for a seller if they're in that type of situation to go that direction. The other thing that's advantageous is if you've got a good agent that understands short sales, on the investor side of that, a lot of times you can get a good deal because you can get the inside track to that particular property. And typically, if things, run the way they're supposed to, you're going to get a good deal on it. And then, of course, you can flip it and move forward from there or turn it into a rental property, whatever you see fit at the time.
Awesome. And are you operating in a specific market?
Essentially, I can operate anywhere in the state of Virginia as, of course, as a licensed real estate agent, but I typically handle most of what I would say Hampton Roads, which is Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Virginia area, Williamsburg, Chesapeake, things of that nature. The Hampton Roads is well known to be a military market, so we have a lot of folks coming and going, and sometimes we end up with situations to where folks have been transferred to another location and they can't sell their house for what they owe, and sometimes they can't even rent it for what they owe, so then they have to go, that different direction.
Awesome. So, what made you choose short sales as like your niche?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
When I talk to and coach new agents, they always want to go into a certain niche. And what I've discovered is the niche finds you. So I'm literally, you figure, I went full time in 2007. I was a chemist for 9 years, and I left that and went full time in real estate. Rolled into 2008, and every listing appointment I'm going on, everybody is underwater. So essentially they owe more than what their house is worth. So it wasn't something I chose to do. It was out of necessity, and it became a matter of, okay, well, nobody knows how to do these things. We're in uncharted territory. Let's be honest. I've got to eat in November, regardless if it's February. I still got to eat in November. So let's start taking these on. And it got to the point where it just became this massive, massive thing to where, when I left my first brokerage at the end of 2010, I had 50 different short sales on the books at the time. And it just became, a daily part of my activity to where I became recognized as the short sale guy, especially in this area. And it's just kind of ballooned and blew up from there over the years.
Awesome. What do you feel are some of the main keys that have made the biggest difference in allowing your business to be able to grow and run smoothly?
So I would say two things, and I learned this early on, and it was like a lightning bolt. So I always try to pass it on. I was sitting there with my first broker. This has got to be the first part of 2008, and we've got a property that I can't seem to sell, and it needs to come down on price. And I'm arguing with him about the price on this, and he finally looks at me and he says, "Why are you arguing with me?" He was like, "Who's the expert here? My name is on the door. I'm paying for all of this. This is my leads, my company, my everything." And it's like the light went on. It's like, oh, good Lord. Sometimes you have to listen to people that know better than you, whether you like it or not. It's kind of like, I'm not going to argue with my mechanic. Now, I'll get a second opinion, but I'm not going to argue with him because he knows best. It's the same thing with the plumber. You don't argue with the plumber. You can get a second opinion, but you're not the plumber. And we all do it. I think just as human beings, we do it. A lot of us, let's be honest, as guys do it on Sundays when we're arguing with the football coach on, I can't believe and find myself doing it. And I'm like, I can't believe he ran that play. He should have done this. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I made it to rec football. I have no business running my mouth about that, but yet we just do it as humans. So I think the biggest thing is listen to folks that know better. The other thing is if you enjoy doing something, so if you're a real estate investor or you're a real estate agent, if you don't tell people you do it, you can't do it anymore. So you've got to sing it from the rooftops. If I worked at Walmart, I could work my 8 hours, come home, and never be seen from again. No social media, just me and my family, and I walk away. But because I sell real estate, because I'm a coach, because I work with a ton of real estate investors, I've got to put my nose out there, put my name out there, and say, here I am.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, definitely. That's important. So you work with investors as well. Can you explain how that process goes for you?
I think for me, a lot of it is need to know that the investor is serious and they're ready to move forward because every real estate agent, whether they tell you that or not, we have our core 5 to 10 real estate investors that we choose to use because we know they're going to get the deal done. We know we can be blunt and honest with them about the property and they can make an adjustment from there. I liken it to if you're just telling me you're a real estate investor, but every time I send you a property, you try to give me some $50,000, $60,000 lowball offer, you know daggone well that's not going to work. I'm not going to accept that offer because it doesn't make any good sense. And I also know that I'm going to get higher offers from other investors. You're not serious. The other thing is if you just talk about it all the time, but you won't pull the trigger, because everything I bring you's got a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're playing pretend, and if you're going to pull the trigger, you got to pull the trigger and be serious about it. So I think that's the two biggest things is new real estate investors need to understand that they've got to be serious. You've got to give me a feeling of confidence that I can start moving you up on my short list because every real estate agent has that short list. We have those people that I can call right now. So and so needs to sell their house. They need to sell it. This is the price point. What we're looking at. This is what it's worth. What do you want to do? That's great, Bob. Let's write it up and get it done. Simple as that. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. Are most of your investors like within the Virginia region or they're coming from out of state?
It depends. Most of the time they're going to be fairly local, but we've also had periods to where we had companies that were coming in the area and were buying up property. And I'm okay with that too. I think a lot of people feel like, well, the investors are buying up all the property. No, the investors are buying up property that you can't buy because you can't get a loan on it and it's beat all to heck. So you want an investor to come in and buy that property because they're going to rehab it. Yes, they're going to make a profit as well. They should, but they're going to flip it. They're going to put it back on the market, and then a nice new family is going to move into that house as opposed to it sitting vacant for 6 years because nobody can get a loan on it in the first place. So I think it's a good thing, and it can be a blend. I've worked with some really strong companies that were very easy to work with. And then, of course, obviously, I've worked with a lot of investors that I have a personal relationship with. And that, it plays a factor into that depending on the property and depending on what's going on at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So, what are you most focused on solving or scaling to next in your business?
For me, I'm super invested in coaching. I've been coaching since about 2019. In 2017, I had my best year ever. And then in the beginning of 2018, I had heart attack number one, heart attack number two, and then a quadruple bypass. And it occurred to me at the end of all of that that I needed to start giving back to the industry that had been good to me. So after recovering from the bypass and quite honestly being completely broke, I started to really push into the coaching, and it's important to me.
Yeah, amazing. Can you expand on the type of coaching and the type of clients that you serve?
Of course. So I do a combination of one-on-one coaching. Typically, it's going to be in a mentor-mentee situation. And then also at the company that I work for, Legacy Group International, we also do group coaching. We do a morning huddle every day. I am in charge of the script this practice on Fridays. And in addition to that, I've also reached out. I'm doing a bunch of other podcasts. I've got a short sale webinar getting ready to bring that back out into the world and some other things of that nature. And quite honestly, when young investors or new investors, I would say, want to sit down and pick my brain, I'm happy to do that too, because I think it's important to give new investors an opportunity to grow and move up to the front line, as it were.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Definitely. So let's say a new investor comes to you. What would be some of the advice that you would give them as a starting point?
I would say number one, let's figure out what you can and can't do. Do you have a background in the industry, or do you have a background in a industry that's close to it? So let's say maybe you were a contractor, or maybe you're still a contractor and you want to move into purchasing. Are we looking at flipping, or are we looking at renting? Obviously, it's going to take more money if you're renting. So if we're flipping, do we have our money situation lined up? Are we borrowing money from our uncle's cousin? Are we doing a hard money loan? And what do the numbers need to be for the flip? And are we willing to do what I would say an easy flip if, let's say, something doesn't need a whole lot of work and we just put a little spit and polish on it and maybe flip it to another investor to where they can finish it if it is, something that's a little bit more complicated. And then we're also going to talk about where we want to be. We don't want to buy something just to buy something. Sometimes we've got to have patience and wait for the right deal to come along. So that plays a factor in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you an investor yourself?
Yes, I haven't, quite honestly, I haven't bought anything in a while. I've been so busy and wrapped up with my other things, but that's actually how I started is I bought rental property, but I fell in love with the process. And quite honestly, I wasn't a very good landlord because I was way too nice. And like a lot of investors, I tried to do it myself, which is where I made the cardinal sin was I'm trying to run my own rental properties, and that never works. So I eventually, at the time, let those properties go. I sold them to another investor and really focused on the real estate portion of what we do day in and day out. And quite honestly, kind of found, where I belonged in the world, as it were, with real estate. I will definitely jump back into the real estate investing. My problem is I don't like to buy properties that are brought to my attention because I feel like I have an unfair advantage. And I think it's better for the client for me to go, okay, I'm going to pass this on to somebody else. Yes, I'll make money off the commissions and if they flip it, I'll make money off that commission. But I don't want to just outright buy the property because a lot of times I want that client to know that I did my absolute best for them and got them the best value that they could get.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some of the goals you have for where you'd like your business to move towards?
So again, like I said, realistically, I'm really trying to expand this year on coaching. I would like to have, I've got a few folks right now that I'm coaching. I'd like to add many more to that list. Again, got another, I've released one book. I've got another real estate book getting ready to come out, and we're going to be doing some good webinars this year on short sales. I'm going to expand on the script this program. I'm excited. Of course, I've been with Legacy Group International, powered by EXP, for about a year and a half. We're going to continue to build that. So, just got a whole lot of fronts. I'm not getting any younger, so I'm really, trying to trying to cram as much good fun stuff in as I can over the next few years.
Awesome. What is maybe an obstacle or a challenge that you've overcome in your career that looking back on hindsight, you wish you had the knowledge on?
I would say I wish I had had multiple streams of income. And I say that from somebody that crushed it for many years And like I said, in 2017, I had my biggest year and I was on top of the world, rolled into 2018, bought a new car, bought an RV, enjoying myself, enjoying my life, and really thought I was prepared if something went wrong. And when something went wrong, i.e., the heart attacks and the bypass, I was not as prepared as I thought I was. And if I had had residual income coming in at the time, then I would have been better off. But let's be honest, in my situation, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And that's what I ran into. And very quickly, I ran through my savings, I ran through my credit card, I ran through everything that I had, and by the end of 2018, I was completely flat busted broke. So that's where I think I should have been investing then, regardless of everything else. I should have had multiple streams of income. I should have been, I thought I was prepared, but I probably should have had an outside person look at what I was doing and go, okay, well, what can I do better? Well, Bob, you need to throw some stuff over here because if this happens, you can cover it. You kind of get to a point when you're successful that you think you know everything and you think you're good to go. And I kind of got into that rut of that and it ended up costing me. So I would say that would be the biggest thing, is that I didn't know everything and I wish I had had the multiple streams to cover me when everything hit the fan.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. So, what are some of the ways that you mentor people? Is that just agents?
It's a combination of things. So it's agents, it's folks that are transitioning perhaps from one job into another, or, and I don't like to use the term life coach. I think for me, the term would be growth coach. It just depends on figuring out what the holdup is. So a lot of times we have things that keep us from moving to the next level, whether we're scared to, or whether we're surrounded by negativity and we feel like we can't make it, or, sometimes we're working our butt off and we just haven't gotten there yet. I think a lot of coaches and agents, and I'm seeing it a lot lately, they talk about mindset and they play the whole, well, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and get an ice bath and do 15, this and that. That's garbage and that's not where it's at. Sometimes you can just work really hard and you're just not succeeding. And maybe you just need to keep pushing and work and keep going. And that's the biggest part, is the not giving up process. Or maybe we tweak one thing in the middle. There is no universal truth to success. It doesn't exist. It never has. And quite honestly, it pisses me off when I see coaches doing that type of stuff. Not everybody's made to get up at 5 a.m. I'm 53 years old. You're not getting my happy butt up at 5:30 a.m. You're not getting me in an ice bath. It's not happening. And I know a lot, especially young people, that what I've talked to them about is, when are you most active and moving? Okay, so if you're really motivated between, let's say, 4 and 7 in the evening, well, then make 4 to 7 your time period to make your phone calls, to do a lot of the things that you need to get done, because that's when you're at your best. There's no reason to be up running around at 8 a.m. if you don't feel it and it just doesn't work for what your lifestyle is. Or, let's be honest, a lot of folks have kids and they have to maneuver their day around the children. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not everything has to be done between 9 and 5. And sometimes you're just not going to be able to go, well, it's 11 o'clock. I've got to go do my phone calls for an hour. It doesn't work that way. If the baby's taking a nap, you can't exactly be yelling and screaming on the phone for an hour. That's just not realistic. So I think
Yeah.
so that's what I focus on a lot of, is how do we set your individual parameters? How do you lean into who you are to be the best that you can be?
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
So, before we wrap up, if someone wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you?
So most of the time they can find me at bobtheagent.com, Bob the Agent on Facebook, on the TikTok. I have a reoccurring TikTok that I do every Friday, so they can find me on there. It's the Wu-Tang Rant of the Week. Typically, you can also reach me at whatbobthinks.com, but I'm fairly easy to find. Bob the agent's a whole heck of a lot easier to find than Bob Thompson. Because let's be honest, there's not a more generic name in the world than Bob Thompson. So if they pull up Bob the agent, they will be able to find me. And I'm one of those people. I'm always happy to get a phone call, get a text. By all means, reach out to me on the Facebook or the socials. Happy to help out wherever I can.
Perfect. Appreciate your time and perspective. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. And for those tuning into the show, if you got value, make sure you've subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Bob who are building real businesses. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.